Hey guys, what's up? Z back here again with another Vikings video, and this time we're going to break down the top 10 Vikings out of the 2016 season. So this isn't just all about Madden ranking, it's not who is the best, it's who played the best last year, not necessarily MVP status, but who helped our team out in their own way the best. You guys get it? Alright, let's move on to number 10. The player that doesn't get anywhere near enough love that he deserves, and that is center/guard Joe Berger. Yes, the Vikings, the worst O-line in the NFL. How dare you put one of those players on the top 10 list? Well, Joe Berger was our best lineman by far last year, and his versatility really is what's putting him on this list. The year before, he was #1 ranked center on run blocking on Pro Football Focus, and he was just about as good as last year. So Joe Berger, without a doubt, deserves a spot on this list. He didn't shine as much as he could have on a better O-line, just because our tackles were so awful, and our right guard, Fusco, was just as bad. So you're only having 2 starting caliber linemen. Joe Berger can't shine whatsoever, but he did really good. But other players didn't pull weight, so he looked kind of bad in comparison. Now, number 9. We're going on defense, which is going to be the majority of this list. The right defensive end, Everson Griffen, the madman himself, got 48 tackles, 2 fumbles, 8 sacks on the year. Could be seen as a down year for the big man himself, Everson Griffen. What puts him on this list is the constant havoc and is making quarterbacks move, throw bad passes. His numbers aren't as good as how good of a player he was on the field. They don't indicate how good he was. A lot of these players will make a bigger point of their stats, but Everson Griffen made quarterbacks run out of the pocket, made running backs have to change direction. He was a constant force, and he was hard to get out of the game. He has such a high motor. It's such a hard player to keep be consistently blocked. And the 8 sacks is still a really solid number. That says a lot if that's a low sack number, and you're still going to be on the top 10 list. So that's number 9. Number 8, a guy that's off the bench, and he's number 8 on this list. Number 99, defensive end Danielle Hunter. Whoa. How could I put him higher on this list than his starter, the guy he's playing behind? Well, look at his stats. 56 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 12.5 sacks off a bench defensive end is out of this world. 12.5 sacks. Everson Griffen, 8. 56 tackles. Everson Griffen, 48. This guy's off the bench and completely outplayed Everson Griffen in every single category. Now, Everson Griffen's on this list because he's a constant force. Danielle Hunter is more of a third down featured blitz package type guy, but the 56 tackles shows that he's very good against the run as well. So I think he's a phenomenal defensive player. 6'5", 252 pounds, and all the talent in the world. I can't wait to see what Mike Zimmer does with Danielle Hunter to make him even improve off this. To give you guys an analogy how good Danielle Hunter is, I like to compare him to James Harden with the Thunder. When he was a 6-man just coming off to shooting threes to give them the lead. Or for baseball, it's like having Jim Thome on your bench, right? It's the 9th inning, and then all of a sudden he comes and then ends this game. That's what Danielle Hunter was for us, and it's phenomenal to see what this guy can do. And I can't wait to see Danielle Hunter in starting role. So now moving on to another offensive player, Stefon Diggs. And these next 2 are really close, but let's look at Stefon Diggs. 84 receptions leading our team, 903 yards, 3 touchdowns, a little bit on the low side. But early in the year, he carried our offense. Once Adrian Peterson got hurt, it turned into Stefon Diggs' offensive show. Now, he got hurt and has probably had a lingering injury for over half the year. If he wasn't injured, he could very well be in the top 5, but that injury really slowed him down. But early in the year, he was unguardable. I don't think we didn't go against premier #1 Richard Sherman's level a shutdown corner, but he was making people miss. You'd catch the ball, almost make the first defender miss instantly over almost 100% of the time, and turn a little 3-yard out route into a 10 to 15-yard gain. So it's so fun to watch Stefon Diggs play. He's only 6 foot, but he can really make plays over the top as well, and has a really big catch radius with his vertical and horizontal jumping ability. So you gotta love Stefon Diggs. But now moving on to his running mate, Adam Thielen. 69 receptions, 967 yards, which led the team, 5 touchdowns. If Stefon Diggs carried our team through the first 4 games, Adam Thielen was the remaining 12. He was a constant force at receiver. Sam Bradford loved throwing to him. I think Bradford's 2 favorite targets at the end of the year was Adam Thielen and the tight end Kyle Rudolph. And Adam Thielen just absolutely lit up in the Sam Bradford led offense. And it really showed. 967 yards, just shy of the 1,000 mark, which kind of shows that you're a premier wide receiver, that you're all that. But 967 is extremely close. 5 touchdowns is respectable, especially when he wasn't so heavily involved early in the year. And then he just turned it up. So I really love Adam Thielen. Such a consistent threat. If you guys want more on who's the true number 1 receiver for the Vikings coming up next year, I made a video on that. Make sure to watch it. It'll be in the description down below. Now moving on, let's talk about the guy that threw him those balls, huh? Sam Bradford. You can't have 2 wide receivers on the list and not mention the quarterback whatsoever. Some say that a first-round pick plus, I believe it's a 4th of next year, is too much for Bradford. But come on, man, he broke a completion rating record. He had a 99.3 rating, 3,800 yards plus, 20 touchdowns, which I will admit is a little bit on the low side. But he was with one of the worst offensive lines in the history of the game. You can't make that clear enough. He was behind a historical bad offensive line with playing against his number 1 receiver was a 5th-round sophomore guy, and then Adam Thielen, an undrafted rookie that was just pretty much a special teams player up to that point. And he showed flashes on offense, but that's pretty much all he's done, and turned those 2 into stars. You can't give enough credit to Sam Bradford. Unfortunately, we didn't get as much wins as we wanted behind him. But I think we can all have an optimistic look when Sam Bradford's behind center, especially with their new revamped offensive line. But last year, he really showed that he was worth the first-round pick. And what more can I say? He was great and very extremely accurate. Now, these final 4 are extremely talented defensive players. This is what Mike Zimmer brings to the Vikings. Amazing defense. And starting off, these are going to be all extremely close. Starting off, we're going to start with the middle linebacker, Kendricks, who was all over the field for the Vikings. He's a 6 foot, 232 pounds of lightning. This guy was all over the field, thumping everybody. Was terrific in coverage and run defense, and he could also blitz, notching us 2.5 sacks on the year. 109 tackles, which led the team, a forced fumble and an interception. This guy is all over the field. You could really see a Luke Kuechly type of resemblance with Eric Kendricks. He's kind of like a poor man's Luke Kuechly at the end of the day. If you look at the same type of athleticism to power and the way he reads the offense, I really think that's a very valid comparison. And the fact that he's 4th on this list really shows how much talent is on the Vikings defense, that we have such a talented middle linebacker, and he's 4th on this list. That is really telling of how much Mike Zimmer has turned his team around. So number 3, debatably the best shutdown corner in the game, Xavier Rhodes closed. You can't get enough. Number 29, 6'1", 218 pounds. He had 52 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 5 interceptions. The man was phenomenal. Whether it was completely shutting down Odell Beckham or taking down the Cardinals offense, he was phenomenal. You could see when he was not out there, when there's confusion, and Jordy Nelson has a big day when he gets lined up on Terrence Newman, but Xavier Rhodes shuts down people he's on, and it's really fun to watch. We're looking forward to him grooming out Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander to be great young guys to play behind him, but Xavier Rhodes, debatably the best cornerback in the league. Now he's number 3 on my list, because with the Odell Beckham thing, on paper, that's a terrific thing. Odell Beckham, probably top 5 wide receiver in the league, and Xavier Rhodes completely shut him down. But that's coming off of the game where he had the whole kicking net incident. So maybe he was still frustrated, and it was more of Odell Beckham beating himself thing than Xavier Rhodes beating him. But I could think if it was a bad corner and Odell got the best of him, he would get over that net kicking incident pretty fast. So I give more credit to Rhodes than Odell Beckham beating himself. But now, number 2, the guy playing behind Xavier Rhodes, Harrison Smith, the man himself, the Hitman. Number 22, 6'2", 214 pounds. He had 91 tackles. Other than that, his blank sheet was pretty empty. 0 fumbles and 0 interceptions. But he did get 2 sacks in the year. That's what he's really known for. He's probably the best run defending safety in the league. Against passes, he's more of a just hit him hard guy. He'll make sure tackles hit guys hard, but his coverage isn't always the best. That's the one thing he really needs to work on, especially his man-to-man coverage. So when he blitz, I'd rather just send Harrison Smith so he's not in those situations where he has to cover man one-on-one. But in zone coverage, we can sit back and whack people. That's where Harrison Smith really excels. That's why I think Harrison Smith, no doubt, deserves a spot in this top 5 and even top 3. It's hard to even argue against it. There's such a big gap of skill when he's hurt, when Anthony Harris has to come in, or Jaron Kearse. You can really see the drop-off, and teams, without a doubt, are going to throw it deep because they know Harrison Smith out there to whack their star receiver. So, Harrison Smith, a phenomenal safety, just like Xavier Rhodes, debatably the best at his position. Now let's move on. Another player. Oh, before we get into the number 1 pick, let's look at some honorable mentions. Starting off at number 3, Anthony Barr, the 6'5", 255-pound linebacker. He had 70 tackles. He had 1 forced fumble and no interceptions, but did tally 2 sacks. The reason he didn't make the list was because, well, he was extremely quiet, especially in the middle of the year. Kind of shut out. Expecting a much better year from him, but nevertheless, he was definitely forcing players down. 70 tackles is still a lot. When Kendricks is swallowing almost all of them, he's still around. He's still making plays. He just wasn't quite as flashy as we would have liked, but still really good. Probably make the top 10 list on about 20 other teams in the league. So can't talk about him enough. Another player that I just got done talking about briefly, and that's Terrence Newman, the 5'10", about 85-year-old cornerback, 197 pounds, 38 tackles and 1 interception on the year. And Terrence Newman, being that number 2 guy, when you have Xavier Rhodes on the other side, that's going to completely shut down that wide receiver. He's going to get targeted a bunch, and he was phenomenal. Another guy it's harder to keep off this list. He'd be a number 1 cornerback on about 20 other teams as well. So Terrence Newman, completely phenomenal. Not as flashy, again, only 1 interception. His stats don't pop out enough to warrant a spot on the list, but it's really great to have this guy back coming up next year. Last on the list, Kyle Rudolph. It was really hard to keep him off the list. I said this a bunch. He's 6'6", 265 pounds, 83 receptions, and 840 yards for a tight end is absolutely insane. He's best year receiving and 7 touchdowns. So there we have it. Now let's get to the number 1 pick, which was, of course, Cordarrelle Patterson. Yes, the Flash man himself. Yes, he had, of course, had 138 receptions, 1,700 receiving yards, and 14 touchdowns. He also returned a league-high 12 kickoffs. Wait, was that just some kid on Facebook typing up a storm on about how great he is and how the demon himself, Rick Spielman, is awful for just not giving him millions of dollars to re-sign him? Is this what I'm getting this intel from? Okay. let's get to the real one. He doesn't get nearly enough credit. None of those players would have as much success if he wasn't the man there, manning the middle of that defense. The big man himself, Linval Joseph, the nose tackle for the Vikings, number 98. He's 6'4", 329 pounds of pure aggression. This man is phenomenal. Being a nose tackle, if you guys don't know, this is the man. He's going to line up head up on the center, sometimes in that center and guard gap. And he's going to get double teamed about 90% of his plays, and he's still making plays. 77 tackles to be exact, and 3 forced fumbles and 4 sacks. He's fighting through double teams and getting sacks. Most of the times when linebackers and safeties get sacked, it's because they come in unblocked. So this man fights through defenders or offensive players, and he gets sacked the old-fashioned way by just beating his man and getting in there. And players like Kendricks can really shine because what Linval Joseph does best is he just eats up the double team. That means there's not a free defender or a free offensive player again to get on Kendricks or any other linebackers to set those up for a bigger play. Since Linval Joseph is taking on those blocks, Kendricks can come in there, make the tackle, and reduce it to a short run. So that's what Linval Joseph completely excels on, and he doesn't get nearly enough credit. So there we have it. There's our top 5 Vikings players of 2016, including our honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, but a ton of talent and helped the team tremendously regardless. So stay tuned. We'll be giving you the top 10 worst players of 2016 coming in a few days. And make sure you give your list in the comment section down below as always. And we'll see you guys in the next JoZ Vikings video. See ya.